So this rather interesting news report was sent to me by a associate of mine on the site. It's about the Chromebooks hype. I was at a shop a couple of days ago. I was looking for refurbished units, and I generally found that there's more and more of these Chromebooks, and Chromebooks don't really exist per se. It's more of a brand, and these are just laptops with a distribution of GNU Linux called MalwareOS from Google. It mostly spies on the users. It's not really doing what GNU was set out to do in the 80s. Now, using old laptops that used to run Windows, old laptops is the emphasis, is kind of an interesting initiative. It's always been possible to install GNU Linux distributions on them, but there wasn't really a company eager enough to find a sort of a business model turning old laptops into GNU Linux distros, Chromebooks, whatever. But Google uses a what you call surveillance capitalism. So if it manages to convert an old machine running Windows into a so-called Chromebook, it can spy on the users. Microsoft, of course, will not like any of that because it reduces the market share of Windows. And this is a report from the, this is a report actually from August, so 3-4 months ago, almost 4 months ago. And there is this company that is hoping to convert all these old machines into Chromebooks, and I'm not sure why. I can imagine it's doable. It shouldn't be so difficult to do it. After all, Chromium OS is free software. As strange as it is to say that, because it's kind of controlled by Google entirely. Now, the latest news, and this is news from today, the 17th of December, so you can see right here, is that Google takes over the company, which kind of makes sense, I suppose, because who stands to benefit from old machine being converted into Google spine machines or whatnot? It's going to be Google, and this is really interesting. I only saw this one article so far. I'm sure it will be mentioned somewhere else later today. It's interesting because the impact on the market share of Windows is quite profound. The person who wrote it very often is kind of a Microsoft booster, but let's put aside the name of the authors and stuff. Let's put all this that's probably a subject for another video. But the IDG websites, both websites I'm showing here, by the way, Reseller News is one of the dozens of domains owned by IDG, which is now owned by a Chinese company, and is taking bribes from various companies to do puff pieces, and sometimes they give disclosure of the articles being funded by those companies. Sometimes they don't give disclosures. Sometimes they don't need to give disclosures, because what generally happens is those companies are clients of theirs that do advertising and they do sponsored pieces, so in between they will sneak in a bunch of flattering pieces about those very same companies, not necessarily sponsored by them. But in any case, this is something I'm going to spend a bit of time writing about in a moment, because I think that potentially will mean millions of computers being converted into a GNU Linux machine. Not really a freedom respecting one, but nonetheless, at least it's not Windows, so it weakens Microsoft's monopoly and grip on the market.